As long as I want you and you want me, it'll be alright. When the world's on fire, I'll lay you down. Don't need nothing but you around to touch your skin and feel you breathe. I can't get you close enough. Stay here with me. We may not have anything, baby, we're us, and we know what that means. We take what we have, and we're honest with that. Through fire or flood, water or blood. So go on and judge, question us. When the world's on fire, I'll lay you down. Don't need nothing but you around to touch your skin and feel you breathe. I can't get you close enough. Stay here with me. Oh, we may not have anything. We may not have anything. Baby, we're us, and we know what that means.
Welcome, Amanda. Thank you for
Hey.
being here.
Thanks for having me.
Your song, What That
That-
Means.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that song.
thank you. I actually I wrote that in 2020 and had forgotten about it until recently, or until at the beginning of this last year. And so I was like, I go through phases where I go through like I call it like the graveyard of songs in my phone, like voice notes and whatnot. So I went back through and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this song. So decided to put it out. Just felt like the right time. I guess the chorus of like talking about like when the world's on fire, that's just like what everything felt like in 2020. So it was just kind of a therapeutic way to write through some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think I read a bio. You're from Southern California originally,
Yeah.
and you were back there taking care of your grandmother when you wrote that song?
Yeah. My, born and raised down there, and my grandma, well, in like Bellflower and Cerritos is where I'm was at, but my grandma is in like Chula Vista National City area, so that's like San Diego basically. Yeah, when COVID hit, when before anybody really knew what that was going to be like or the extent of how much the lockdown was going to go, I think I was doing a little job here in Kansas City at the time, and it was like everybody was starting to freak out because we were like, oh, we're only 11 days behind Italy and they just shut down everything. And like California was kind of, along with New York, everybody was kind of, locking things down pretty hard, pretty fast. So we thought that they were not going to let like anybody cross into the state at all at one point. So my grandma she had like 4 different caretakers coming in and out to take care of her. So it was like, well, that's not possible because it's just too much exposure. And then I was just lucky enough to have the type of job that I could, take the time and go be with her. And so, yeah, it was tough. It was a lot. But it was like the sweetest time as well. But it was very lonely. It was hard. It was like 6 months straight of literally just she and I, because we were trying to minimize as much exposure as possible. So it was, right at the very beginning of everything, and nobody knew what was going on, and it was intense. But I definitely wrote a lot of music, which is good.
Oh, that's good to have the time to do that. That's always nice. So were you guys always close, or did you get closer during that time? Did she have any stories to tell you, or was she kind of incapacitated?
No, she did. She has Alzheimer's, and so it was definitely a different type of road. But yeah, we've been super close my whole life. She's like my favorite person in the world. So it was an easy decision. It was a like easy yes for me to go down there. But it just ended up being really challenging. But it was like the sweetest time because we just had, you know, so much time, just she and I together. And it was like, yeah, it was sweet, even in the midst of all of it. But I would sit and listen, like turn on my voice memos. Like we would have to sit and have dinner together. And then I would just like ask her questions and listen to her tell us stories and ask her about my grandpa, because I never met my grandpa Bruce. And she always would go back and, you know, tell stories. She would get, you know, more lucid talking about things from, you know, the way back. So it was cool. And I played a few live stream shows, but then that ended up being a little bit too intense because it was just a lot. And then one time I played and her hearing aids were turned up too loud. And then she didn't want to interrupt me and she didn't tell me until afterwards. And I was like, oh no, I can never do this again. So I was like, no more live streaming until I get back. I'm just taking it full. So, but yeah, she's such a sweetheart and has always been somebody in my life that, yeah, she's like the person to me that has just never questioned me. And not in a way of like discipline or something like that, but I mean, just like the coreness of like who I am, you know, like growing up very evangelical and like my whole family is still, you know, very much in that mindset, which is, you know, beautiful for them, to each their own for sure. But I just don't necessarily haven't subscribed to that belief set in a very long time. I like had a lot of church trauma with your, you know, more typical Western evangelical church settings. And so, and they all know that, you know, and so coming out for me was like a really big process with that. And it was, you know, hard for my family and, you know, stuff. And my mom and I actually kind of like severed ties for a while when that kind of fully happened. It's a very, very long story. But when that finally came to fruition of where I, you know, said I'm not, yeah, because I did like conversion therapy and was in like a lot of like really intense programming stuff to like, you know, try to change that from my life. And so when it finally was a thing of like, hey, I'm not trying to like fix this anymore. Like, this isn't the thing that I'm like revolving my entire relationship with around God over curing me of now. You know what I mean? It's like, now I'm just Amanda, and like this has to do with a part of who I am. It's not who I am, but it is also who I am. And so it's like, and that's okay, like to finally letting that happen. And then so that there was a rift between my mom and I for a couple of years. It was pretty intense. And so with my whole family, it kind of ended up being a little bit like that. But my grandma, you know, I always talked to her and we never really talked about it. It was like she knew that my mom took that place, and she had her, I guess she had told my mom that, you know, later on I found out, you know, that she told me, she was like, I would tell your mom I don't agree with her not talking to you, you know, but I didn't hear that at the time. You know, my grandma was kind of just letting us have our own business, I think. But yeah, and my grandma and I never even really had that conversation. There was just one time we were on the phone together, and I was with an ex-partner at the time. She just, I don't even remember exactly what we were talking about, but we were talking about Lisa, my partner at the time. And then, you know, I think she could just tell by the way that I was talking about her and like our life together. I think that she could just tell that I was happy. And so she just kind of stopped me. And, you know, she said, you know, honey, can I ask you a question? And then it was like, you know, when you like feel the air kind of like suck out of the room, or like, you're like, oh shit, this feels important, you know, like for all of a sudden, I don't know why I felt that, but I was just like, yeah, grandma, you know. And she just kind of paused, and all she said was, are you happy? And I just like knew, that was, I said, yeah, grandma, I am. Yeah, I really am. And she was like, that's all I've ever wanted for you. That's all I ever want. And then we just like carried on, you know, and then it was like the like energy swell of it was so intense. And then it was like the energy passed, and then we were just like, okay, went on about, you know, everything else. It was like never a thing. I haven't been the most responsible person my whole life. I'll definitely say that. And I won't blame it on the musician archetype, even though that's easy to do. But, you know, she was one person that never made me feel like I was always failing. You know, she always made me feel like I was doing well. Even when I put out my first EP, I'm always constantly like, man, when am I going to make it? Or like what, you know, the end goal destination of like what it's like to succeed as an artist. And she would always is like, you always wanted to do this and you did this. You know, she would always speak to me as though I had already made it, you know, like, and that's how proud of me she was. So it's tough right now. She's, you know, pretty much she's not lucid really ever, you know, and is very much in the like final declining stages. She actually just took a fall a couple days ago, so she's been having a hard time. She's the best.
Oh, that's amazing. That's, I think, a really important part of revealing who you are. Yeah, is she the only, did you say she's the only one in your family that kind of, or primarily, that lets you be who you are?
Not like, I would say she was the one that where I just always felt like the most comfortable and without question, you know. And like, I mean, your parents are your parents, and I had a great relationship with my mom growing up, you know, single mom, with my brother and I, and eventually, you know, kind of reconnected with my dad. Growing up in general, you get, you know, told what you're doing correctly or incorrectly. Like that's kind of part of the whole point of growing up, and like people need to tell you to a certain degree, like, do this, don't do this, you know, your life depends on it. It's interesting growing up in you know, in religious settings, how much you're like, I'm good or I'm bad, like, doesn't just revolve around like your parents being upset that you did something or whatever. It's like there's also that extra level to the goodness or badness. Like I'm like a hell or no hell type of level too, you know, which is, it's so wild thinking about it now as an adult. It's like literally it's just kids walking around with like PTSD thinking about going to hell or not by doing something as like a 4-year-old that is like against the rules. Yeah, so just having those aspects, and you know, I got in trouble a lot or just different things. I was just always adventurous and like wanted to do stuff and, you know, break the rules and push the edges, or at least find them, you know. Yeah, I remember not being really scared of anything until I got older, which is so interesting. But she just always was that person for me. And it's interesting because I know in every family, it's like, even with my mom or not, like that's her mom. So she will never see her the way that I've seen her. You know what I mean? Because she's seen her as her mom.
Right.
And so it's like, she's like, oh, you know, there's that aspect of, oh, well, the grandkids always get the, you know, the best of everything.
Yeah.
And you don't ever see them really, you know, give out all their shadows and whatever, you know, because and I was the baby of the family. So there were 5 of us cousins, and I was the youngest of all of us. And then my brother was older than me. So it was like, we didn't have a huge family by any means, but I was the baby. I think it's good to a certain extent for everybody to have at least one person in their life that they know, like, just sees no wrong in them.
Yeah.
You know, like, even when you are wrong, like that type of like, she was the most of any, and I'll say this too, like, she was definitely a believer and is somebody in my life who has actually like shown me Christ, like consistently.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like that is a big deal, especially, you know, when there's been a lot of times where I get so reprimanded or like treated poorly in the name of like, you know, me not living this, you know, Christian lifestyle. So it's just ironic, but times that like the person who just gave me the most freedom and then like showed me the most love, like that has like pointed me most directly towards that source of love, you know. So it says a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I grew up Jehovah's Witness. So similar, they don't believe in heaven and hell, but but I understand that feeling of I'm supposed to have this relationship with God, and I felt that I did. And I felt that he was some white guy in the sky judging me and disappointed in me all the time. It gave a sense of total unworthiness. And I think that because my mother didn't grow up like that, her mom was also one of my favorite people, my grandma. Also one that would just let me be free and not judgment. So I would go and spend summers with her and not have to go to church and not have to read the Bible. And all she wanted me to do was like make my bed and be, you know, kind, respectful. I don't think my parents understood that they didn't grow up with religion, but they raised us with religion. I have 5 siblings, and I'm also the youngest.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get the level of brainwashing that happens to a child, because children are basically in a state of hypnosis up to age 7. So they take everything literally. So when God is mad at you, you think that you're a bad person and like you're not worthy of life. I'm not raising my kids religious, probably for that very reason. You know, have them still have a relationship with God where they feel like there's someone to rely on other than me because I'm imperfect. You know, as parents, we screw up all the time.
I screw up my kids. I just got to have them first.
Yeah, well, they'll believe me. They'll push all the buttons. It's so crazy. You think, oh, I raised a lot of my nieces and nephews, at least partially, like nannied for them for a little bit of time. And it was so easy. I was like, yeah, no, they listen to me. I got this. I thought when I had kids, it would be like that. No, I can't even explain it, but it's something that, you know, I think adults need to consider when they're raising their child in a religion, that the judgment thing is not helpful for a child to grow up and feel completely ashamed of who they are because they're a human and they're not perfect.
Yeah. It's such a tough line to walk. Like, to me, the way I look at it is like everything swings in generations, right? Like you have, like you said, like your parents didn't grow up religious, and then you have sweeping youth group movement or whatever. Like I call all my friends and, you know, like us, like all like the youth group generation. Everyone was going to youth group. It was like this season of everything was charged to like get the teenagers. Like even in like the ministries that I was a part of, I was like a national spokesperson as an 18-year-old for this humongous ministry where we were going around like praying me for like PR and all this stuff. I was on CNN and Fox and all this stuff doing interviews to like promote this ministry that was like 25,000 people at an event, kids, that you're like, the whole thing is like, it's geared with like concerts and speakers and stuff, and like, which is cool. It's like a summit that you go to. But it's just, it felt like such a time of where things were, all the vibe was like, get the kids, like get the teenagers. We're, you know, on the front lines of this battle, and like, you know, there's such a war mentality in it. You know, and I believe in spiritual battle 100%. I really do. Like, so I get that aspect of like, and light versus dark, and like there is warring in a realm that none of us truly understand. I really believe that. So I get it from that aspect, but there was just this thing of like, we got to build soldiers. We got to build soldiers to like go out and evangelize and force this specific thought process on everybody in the world and all of these things. Nothing else mattered. Don't go to college. Don't go on mission trips. Go to these pay us to come tell you how to like fix yourself to be holy in the eyes of God, when truly you're just taking a lot of broken teenagers that want to be a part of something, that nothing is truly inherently wrong with them. You're playing on all their insecurities and traumas and brokenness and war that into their sense of connection to God in all things. I don't think there's a higher offense, truly.
I agree. I mean, I would see that. I see that as blasphemy, right? Because like you're teaching these kids love and belonging and acceptance. But like you said, your grandmother showed you what Christ is like by having unconditional love and acceptance. And when you're training teenagers or anybody to be a soldier for this message of love, soldiers don't bring messages of love.
No. Yeah. Yeah, really.
It's confusing.
Yeah. The whole aspect even of like, it's just love. Everything's all love. You know, like it sounds so hippie wooey. And even the worst nightmare of me before, you know, would be like me talking about that of like, that's the only thing that matters, you know. But truly it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, love is the ultimate everything.
It seems like it gets distorted by businesses because religions, although they're nonprofit organizations, they are still a business. Just because you're a nonprofit doesn't mean you don't make profit. It just means you don't get taxed on it. So it has that business mentality where we get all of our members to become our marketing team. The more members we get, just like any pyramid scheme, the more money that comes in. So when you have hierarchies and things like that, the love gets lost and diluted and the profit comes first. And to keep an organization, you know, decentralized to the degree that the message of love isn't lost is, I don't think most people have figured it out.
Yeah, truly. That, yeah. I don't know what that looks like either yet.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it yet much. I don't know. Like right now in Fit for Service, it feels like that, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I see people getting a little scared and feeling like no, and putting people on pedestals. I think that's where we go wrong, when we start putting people on pedestals and seeing only the upside and not the downside, because every human has both. You infatuate with the coaches or the leaders, and then you make them gods instead of realizing they're human. And it's awesome if they make a mistake, because that shows us that we're all human.
Yeah, I think that's it's so it almost feels like, oh, should I talk about this or not? But I've talked about it like so much, like with my roommates in Montana and stuff too. Even being in Fit for Service was like there were a lot of triggers about it for me, just because of my past legitimate, like very intense settings. I was like, I don't know, can I do this again? You know, can I like be in an, you know, but it's not, there's so many things about it that are not that environment. So it's like, it's way easier for me to be involved in it. But the thing that you just said is like realizing and remembering that literally everyone is just someone. Everybody is just somebody that is doing everything that they feel like is right for them to figure out all the things they need to figure out, you know? And it's like, there's such a beauty in, you know, even with Aubrey, like creating this container and then living his life in such a way to where it's like, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to expand, I want to learn how to love, I want to learn how to love myself, I want to learn how to love everyone, I want to do all these things, and spending it time in the places that he spent time, you know, like physically and, you know, energetic spaces, like to where he is touching things that we all, you know, that I believe are real. And so it's like having someone do that and kind of almost not say do it first, but do it before a lot of us heard, you know, or at least in the group, you know, there's a lot of things that the coaches have just already done that they're now talking about the potential for us to also be able to do, rather than this person. I don't want to say like specific names because I don't want to say that it's like in any derogatory way, because I'm trying to explain how I don't feel like that from them. But any of the coaches are not like, it's not this thing of, or I'll say Kyle, because That's what Kyle does. But like, not like Kyle has got this otherworldly, like specialized human being that is unlike all of us. I mean, he kind of is. He's physical, natural marvel. But
Yeah.
you know, like there are so many aspects about Kyle being other than like, but still, I just mean in like spiritual capacity or anything like that. Like we all have capacity for things, you know, that is, we're looking at people who have just done it first and they've committed their lives to continuing to want to make their whole lives revolve around knowing more. You're looking at people who have done it first and said, you can also do this. Like you can do anything, you know, like you know, I can decide to, you know, move to Romania tomorrow and try and learn how to become a farmer from somebody. And like, I literally could do that. And what a beautiful life maybe that would be. We can do anything. And especially when it comes to like spiritual capacity, diving into source, it's just what, you know, truly whatever floats your boat. And it's somebody showing you this boat bears a lot of fruit in my life and it casts a lot of light around me. And I get this response. It's like a very Jesus way of living, even, you know what I mean? Follow me, let me be the lighthouse, you know what I mean? Like that, if you want people to live a certain way, like show them how, like, and you really believe it, then do you live that way? Like show them by how you live, like show them by your fruits. All of us have leaders and mentors and people that we look up to. I hope so. That's how you learn, grow. Lord, I hope that we all do. And so the thing that where anybody ever gets wrong is like putting people in a place where they are no longer people and forget that we are all that. And we're looking at people who are telling where they've already been.
Right. And the key words that you're saying are can and show. There's no should. We're not being told we should do anything, or they won't even recommend that anybody do plant medicine, for example, but they've all done it and they believe in it. But I think that's the beautiful thing about it. And you said the Christ-like way is just to teach a man how to fish instead of giving him a fish.
And teaching is a way to fish. You can, you know what I mean? Like you can use pole, or you can, you know, you can use this string, or you can, you know, reach in and grab that bitch with your hand. Whatever. And I think we get too caught up sometimes too on like, so-and-so said this is the way they did it, so then I have to do it that way. Otherwise, I'm not going to get to the source. That is the thing that messed me up for the longest time. I only have to show up as me. That's the only way it's going to work. And I have to listen to, you know, my own downloads and get my own codes for my own, like nobody on the planet is ever going to walk the same life as me, nor have they ever. So the advice that I get from God, from the universe, from everything source, like that advice, yes, can it work on a mankind level? Yes. Are we all technically not separate? Of course. But for me specifically, my codes that I'm getting are for me, for my function, from everything that's happened in my life. Anytime me seeing a grasshopper means something to me, that it doesn't have to mean anything to anybody else. Reminding like there's freedom also in this aspect of like, oh my gosh, I had this, or, you know, wonderful plant medicine experience, or I had this crazy, you know, experience when I was meditating or doing whatever, walking in the park, sitting on the couch. You get something that drops in on you and you're like, whoa, that meant something to me. That was super significant. There's like, I think there should be freedom and sacred thank you, knowing that it's yours for you. Yes, share that with people, if, you know, to whatever degree that you want to. But yeah, there's even a small part of me of like, you know, Tosh would probably murder me for actually not ever writing this down, but I never wrote down my ayahuasca experience. Like I didn't, and I have like different notes, you know, or like bullet points, but I have played it 1,000, and I know that your memory can play tricks on you and all these things. And I know that, but there was something in me that was like, once I write this down, it's not mine anymore. And I'm not saying that for all things. There's lots of other ceremonies that I'm like, no, I have to write this down 100%. I'm like, I need to remember these specific things. And journaling is fantastic. But there was something about that was like, I needed it to stay in me.
Well, you're a writer. I mean, you're a singer-songwriter. So you are not, it's not like that came from a place of laziness or avoidance or what. But yes, when you're someone who writes to express, you're like, okay, this is only mine.
Yeah.
Which is,
I didn't. That's so brilliant for you to put it together like that. I literally didn't even think of it that way before. Like, I'm so used to, as a songwriter or writer in general, that's what I do. I take the whatever I'm working through, and that's how I get it out of me, is to write, to out and sing it out. And so it was like this thing I just didn't like. I was like, no, this one's mine.
Yeah.
So I talk about it all, and I tell people about it so much. But there was just something about writing it for me, which is so interesting. But even you saying that makes so much sense.
Yeah, that is interesting. Speaking of songwriting and music, did you ever go through a period where you didn't know who you were as an artist, as a singer? I mean, for me, growing up, I practiced to like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and then Crystal Gale, and it was just all over the place. And I lost my own voice because I was so practiced copying theirs. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Absolutely. That is so profound to me of what you just said, of like, you lost your voice because you were just copying theirs. I was going to be a huge worship leader. Like, that was like my plan. That was my path. That was like, I grew up singing in church, went to a Christian school. I was a worship leader at my school, which I would go back and forth from like backsliding, if you will, to not. And so I'm sure it was using for people to watch me lead worship and then like, smoke pot. But there, going through that. And then I left and went to ministry right out of high school. Got kicked out of that one, but like was a worship leader there, and then went to my second one specifically for music, and to do conversion therapy, and was singing on worship teams there. And it was like one of the biggest places of, it was like a pinnacle of if you were a musician in like the church or for like anything of a charismatic movement whatsoever. Like, the place that I was at, it was like when I was singing there, I'm sure the numbers are way higher, but we were broadcast to like 150 or like 200 countries all the time.
Wow.
Like, so it was not just singing for a room. It's like you're literally singing all the time.
You've already been on the world stage.
Yeah. And so it's like, and that was where I wanted to do it, because that was like the most intense place, and they understood like the most intense way to worship, and they understood how to make the most intense songs and create the most intense emotional environment to like connect. And so I was just like, that's it. That's where I'm going. And like, I was there. And so like my whole, like path was set in my mind, and like there was nothing else I wanted to do. And I knew that I was good enough that nobody was going to not have me do that.
Wow.
Yeah. It was wild. That was my whole, not only like my spiritual health, well-being, nature, and everything was not only wrapped up in being literally like all the time, constantly in the church. Like my career was that too. So it was like all the music I wrote was that. All the, I couldn't even, writing a secular song, like thinking about songs going on like secular radio, get out of here. So that would be like the thing that was like me backsliding or like selling out. So when I ended up leaving, literally just like looked like, for like a couple, like what, my whole world was just gone. And then there was so much of my own that I had to deconstruct about like writing a love song that's not like romantically about the man Jesus. Like, you know, like, because so many of them were, which is like looking back on that too, is like there's you can dissect a lot there, but like just writing a love song, or like, but then for me, writing a love song meant writing about a woman, and then so go on top, you add that on top of it, and then even anything else, it was just like, oh man, it took me so long to know what my voice was, because it was just like I knew what it was in a sense of worship. I still love that. Like I don't regret any of that. I know that what I was connecting to, everything that we do with intention is worship, you know? So it's like, I know that my heart was, you know, seen by whatever was supposed to see it when I was in those spaces. And it just took me a really long time to say, even now, I'm still, you know, honestly, I still struggle with that now. Like, even to the point of, you know, where this past year, I was talking about like just rebranding and like changing my name, make this character, you know, because character can say whatever she wants, you know, like, which is great. And I love that about art. You know, I love that aspect of music, and I get to do that in different parts of my job, but I'm still trying to find out my voice, you know, and like, even in the songs that I write now, I have my like, you know, country, bluesy, or like Americana stuff. Like what that means is like, it's a love song. It's a, you know, but, and then I have Flowers in Hell, or like Sure as Gold, or things that are like a lot of music that is on its way out. That is very much like a bridge between like what a worship song kind of is, and then just what I think now. They're very spiritual. They're very, you're probably not going to hear this on the radio, you know, or like it's very much, I think, kind of I think it's for everybody, but I get the aspect that everybody's not going to fall in love with that type of music. So I keep going back and forth between trying to make hits, you know, like make trend, make the viral clip and whatever, and like, and just fun. Like I love country music. I love it. I play so much cover music, like my day-to-day job, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it. So I love to make music that like that, and I love to sing it. I love it. It makes me happy. But there's like this duality of like the other music that I write that is like digging out all of this stuff that we've been talking about, and also trying to give hope and trying to just be, you know, talk about love and talk about the light that's in the world. And sometimes I'm like, well, which brand do I pick? Am I super, you know, like, so like, I know that I can do both and all things, but it's just like still trying, you know, I think we all are always trying to find our voice, and how our voice changes, you know, we're like constantly going through puberty.
That's true. That's true.
So, but I am very much more confident and know what like the things that I have to say, you know, in like the know me that, but those things also can change. Like I'm open to changing. Like that's the whole concept of Sure as Gold is like the first thing that I wrote after I did ayahuasca. And it was just the getting out the concept of, I was so absolutely dead set my spiritual health, and I was going to heaven, and nobody was going to tell me that I was doing it wrong, and I was living holy, and I was doing everything possible to, you know, not have same-sex attraction. And I was sure as gold on like what I thought and what I believed and everything. Like you couldn't change my mind. And my whole fucking world fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am like demanded of myself that I will never be locked into a worldview or a thought process so heavily that I can never question my own self. Like that I can never look at this and see a flaw, or not brush it off of like, well, because I've been so trained to like groomed, honestly, to see things that I feel. I'm like, that's kind of weird, right? Is that weird? But since everyone else is like, no, it's not weird, and it's so and so doing it, you know, it's like the leader of the church doing it, or like they're saying it, even though it's like they probably meant this, so just whatever. That's all just forces you not to trust yourself. And I've spent over a decade trying to learn how to trust myself again. So with that, I need to know that I have the capacity to latch onto, we all do. We have the capacity to latch onto things and get so wrapped up in, I mean, look at politics these days. Like, religion, you can get so gung-ho on an idea that consumes you, and you could be wrong, of like, damn, it's Tuesday and I could be wrong today, like about it. So it's just, all of those things help try to keep me in perspective.
I have this thing that I say to myself all the time is, if I have a really, really strong opinion about something, it means I only have about 50% of the information. So
more defensive we tend to be, like, is usually we don't have all the information, or we're trying to convince ourselves of that we're panicking that we might actually be wrong. That, like, being so defensive about a position or about a person or a organization, anything in any way, is so intense.
But finding out we're wrong is some of the most freeing experiences I've ever had. It's funny because your explanation of how you saw your life going, that identity as the singer, but the church singer, I think if I had grown up in a religion where we had music as a major part of the church and I went that route, my family would have been like, yeah, you should sing, because that would have been something that I could have done. But because that wasn't an avenue, they didn't want me going into commercial music where I would be a drug using whore, basically, is what they would have seen. So that's really interesting. I love to learn that I'm wrong. I mean, it's painful at the moment, but then it's like, oh my God, really? Because then you realize you're not dead and that there's still more to learn and experience, and like, oh, now I can start researching all of this thing. I find when I'm writing songs that I'm always like, I don't like my own sound. I'm like, oh, it's always got to be such a downer. Like, why is everything I write such a downer? Like, I have people, when I post poetry and stuff on Instagram, like friends that they think I'm depressed. And I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm right. That was the past. I'm just writing about it now from a new perspective. But like, they're like, I'm here for you. I'm like, I'm okay.
Really eloquent words here. Yeah. How you said that your parents would have encouraged you to sing, probably, if that was an avenue for you guys.
Yeah. Instead, I took on the belief that, because my dad said, oh, it's only 1 in a million that makes it. He definitely was trying to discourage me. But, oh yeah, and he's not wrong. But I as a child took that to mean I'm not good enough. He's saying I'm not good enough. And so I like buried that ambition and never went for it. Like, I never stopped practicing, and I took music classes and I took voice lessons, but I tried to bury it over and over and over. And I definitely didn't pursue it as a career, but still little things like I would write songs, and I went and got invited to try out for America's Got Talent, and just felt like that was just the weirdest thing, because they were directing us. I'm like,
the invites for those shows, you gotta get the invites. Don't stand in the cattle call. No one's supposed to know.
But yeah, so they were like directing us. I thought it was really weird. But the things kept coming up. So now I'm back to music. It's like, it's not going anywhere. Stop trying to abandon it. Stop trying to change your voice and change your... I just wonder if that's the case for all artists, if they kind of go through these deaths and rebirths constantly, and these...
Absolutely. And it's absolutely. And you have to constantly die and be reborn to make art. The beauty comes in the death, you know what I mean? Like, but then you have to figure out how to show people the beauty by making it come to life again. You know, it's there's beauty in it, in like the breaking down and like seeing raw. Not that all art has to be dark and, you know, like what you're talking about, sad, but like what is, there's like beauty in finding those places that some people don't have the capacity for, you know, and so, or don't let themselves understand have capacity for. It's brave. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to make art, because any art that matters has to be raw, vulnerable. It takes courage to do that. And it takes courage to say, like, I mean, the comment you made about, you know, your dad saying only 1 in a million. It's like, oh, I wish parents everywhere would stop saying things like that, because like I remember I was trying out for something and it was like, you know, I had the same type of thing. I was in high school and I was trying out, or wanted to try out for this thing, and my, you know, my stepdad was like, said the same thing, like, oh, 1 in a million, like 1 in a million people, you know, can't do that or whatever. All I heard was, I'm not 1 in a million. Like you're saying, 1 in a million could, you know, they pick 1 or like 2 people out of thousands of how many people, and I'm like, yeah, and that could be me,
Right.
like, that could be, you know what I mean? Like I could be the they pick, man. I'm cool, you know, I'm good at this. That could be me. I was told in that moment that I'm not the 1 in a million then.
Exactly.
You know, and like that is, ooh, that's heavy when you look at it from that way. And so it's like so many art, like all artists here pretty much their whole lives, unless they're dropped in some type of heavenly thing that just like supports them to the maximum, which is, there are families like that, which is crazy to me, but I'm so happy they exist.
Right.
You know, but without that you hear that your whole life. Even now, you know, I'm 36, I'm in my late 30s, and I'm still, you know, when it comes to like my friend group or, you know, anybody like around, it's like there's kind of this thing, like I have a lot of successful friends, and it's like I feel that lack of like, you know, financial wherewithal, or, you know, even yeah, just so many things like that, or like where they're at and then where I'm at. It's like the disconnect still feels so far, and it's like I'm just the, you know, starving artist over here, you know, like still trying to make it work. And like I think there is some element, not a lot, I don't feel it a lot, but I feel it sometimes, to where I feel like, how long are you gonna do this? Are you still gonna keep, like, are you still doing this? You can come, you know, just come work for me. Like, come do this, come over here. And I like have opportunities up all the time. And it's hard not to be like, okay, yeah, that's great. I'm so grateful I could do that. And then just make money doing that. And then just play my guitar for fun, or like just write music for fun. But like, I can't. Then when I find myself in positions like that, like I end up going to the hospital because I have a panic attack. You know, it's like, it's just, you know, so they're just, and that was my own thing to work out years ago. But it's like that aspect of, I don't know what else to do, you know?
Well,
Like,
that, you know, if you were to accept that, that would be a whole different kind of death. I mean, that's the problem with the way we define success, is that, you know, you talk about your friends that are successful. My family looks at me like I'm successful because I became an accountant and I have these certain things. And I'm like, but I'm not. I'm absolutely empty inside and miserable. I mean, not anymore, but
right.
At the time when I was suppressing everything that I wanted and everything that I really was, I was dead inside because I wasn't connected to my music and my art. So financial, it's awesome that we all put that on a pedestal, but if a lot of people who are financially successful are still laden with debt and they're still making it paycheck to paycheck, earners over $250,000 a year, at least 50% of them are living paycheck to paycheck. So they're not really any better than us. They've just bought into the lie and the story that looks really pretty, but you know, when you're dead inside, what's the point?
Yeah. for sure. Health insurance, I will say that.
Health
Right.
insurance is good.
I do have health insurance right now. Not the greatest, but in my current situation with my leg and like 6 fractures, I'm like, oh man, having to
Oh my
have
goodness.
at my discretion would be awesome right now. But no, but you're so right. And I have some beautiful friends that are very vocal with telling me how proud they are of me, you know, and like that are just like, you do what everybody wants to do. You know, we're just too scared to do it, you know? And like, when I look at that, I'm just like, it reminds me of like, I am so grateful to be brave in that aspect and to be like brave enough that I just haven't quit. I just got no quit in me when it comes to it. So it's like, I, you know, just keep going and keep going on the grind. It's a good reminder of what is success, you know?
Yeah, we're at the hour, but I do have one more question. It's maybe 2 parts. When you came out, were you still deeply in the church? And then you talked about conversion therapy, 2 things that I don't know much about.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the first time, coming out was more of like a realization of like, oh no, I have this sin. Telling my mom or telling people was like, they were telling me that it was like this unhealthy codependency that like turned physical because our friendship was so messed up. And so from that, I internalized that as just another way of me being wrong. I can't even have a friendship, because then now that just means I'm going to have too like unhealthy of a friendship and just make out with my friends. Like, what are you talking about? You know? So, and I know that codependency is a real thing, so I'm not knocking that. And I think, you know, I've had my own struggles with codependency.
I think everybody does, but I don't know, maybe not.
So from that, it was like, oh, okay, we separated. Like you know, I was already kicked out. And so they separated us, which still were like dictating whether or not I could talk to this girl who like I ended up having this relationship with. And we didn't even like kiss. We didn't have anything formal like actually happen. It was just, I just felt so guilty and knew that we were going against the honor code that we had signed. So like emotionally went through that process of like, what? Like, I just didn't realize that was what was happening. Like, as far as like having same-sex attraction or anything, because it was just so far off my radar of like growing up in the church. And like, there were no, you know, I'm sure there were queer people around me, but I didn't know they were, it was just always a negative connotation. Like, I was homophobic before I even realized that I was homosexual. That's how messed up it is. You learn to hate yourself before you even know. So I got kicked out, and then so conversion therapy is essentially gay movement. It's like programs of like different literature and like workbooks, and it can be way, way intense where your like parents will have somebody kidnap you in the middle of the night, take you to a camp in the woods, and like force you to stay there because you're a minor, and force you to like do brainwashing against being gay, and like, or whatever they think is terribly wrong with you, but it's usually about the gay stuff.
Wow.
That is one version of it. There's many versions in between. One I did was like 6 months long. I think it was once a week. It might have been twice a week, but I think it was once a week. But we had like 2 giant workbooks, and it like basically the whole concept was something broke in you that God can fix, that will make you straight.
Remember anything specific that was like said, or like a mantra they would use? I don't think mantra is the right word, but like
a lot of rebuking. It's a lot of rebuking. It's like, you know, it's like just so much prayer, constant memorizing of Bible verses, and just constantly like, I rebuke the spirit of homosexuality, I rebuke the spirit of lesbianism, like it's a demon in me, that level of stuff. And like sitting there like in your small group and having, you know, tons of like, you're people around you just like lay hands and start to pray in tongues and start to like just get really loud and like they're trying to cast a demon out of you.
That's scary.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild time. But so did that go through like father wounds and mother wounds and all the traumas of your past, and have you been abused? Have you not been abused? Have the, you know, as you name it, to go back and work through anything that could have possibly happened. It's just a total breakdown of trying to find it. Oh, that was it. That was the moment that messed you up. And so, like once, but that's just trauma. Like that's trauma. Do I believe in going back through and like working through your life and finding the puzzle pieces that make you who you are and healing wounds? Obviously. And I've spent my life, my whole adult life doing that. But not in the way of like trying to go and say like, oh, this one specific thing was like the end all be all that like ruined you and made this terrible thing. There are, you know, pivotal moments in all of our lives that change us, absolutely. But when it comes to like how you express and like live every day in the world, like it's not that's not it.
That's a really important point to make, because there are, even in spirituality, people are doing this work because they think they're broken and they need fixing. So to go into it with that attitude, what's the thing? What's that one thing? I know I'm going to get to it. I know I'm going to uncover it. That thing that broke me. Like, oh, I do it all the time. I have this behavior that I don't like, this icky thing that I keep doing. So I want to dig in and find out what's the thing that happened so that I can fix this. And it's like,
what if you never and your whole like, if we spent, that's one thing that I'm trying to keep in perspective even now in my own, like the way that I'm on a healing journey totally differently now. We can't look at ourselves from the lens of how fucked up we are, to where your whole relationship with spirit, your whole existence is just about like fixing it, everything, and like trying to be what, like how this person is, trying to be like this. The whole process of like a spiritual journey is like learning how to just be yourself and then just like slowly walk back home.
Yeah.
My whole relationship with God, all it revolved around was how to not be gay. How sad.
Yeah.
Sad is that. For so long, that was the only way that I could stand right and pure and holy before the Lord. And I mean, like there was no, like it was just constant. Not to say that there aren't aspects of ourselves that we all want to better or change or enlighten. Like, great, but like there are some things that are like, just because somebody says that this is broken about you, like, doesn't mean that that's true. Also, like spending your life trying to fix yourself negates any potential beauty to be seen by you or anyone else from you. If you're constantly just like trying to fix your brokenness, then like how are you living? You're walking around in the world every single day as like your mantra is, I'm broken.
Right.
You know, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. Like, but what about the shit you don't need to fix? Like, what about so many things? It's just like a gratitude practice in all of its simplest form. And it's not just like typical evangelical church setting or whatever you think, like any kind of religious setting. It's like we are in any spiritual setting, any type of new age thing, anything. We're not removed from it just because we're not inside of a church. We're not removed from that thought process of unhealthy fixery. We're not above it, like just because we do like spiritual things differently.
Self-love is not fixing all the things wrong with you. It's loving the whole of you.
You know, like even Aubrey said that one of the first days when we were in Montana, your darkness, you know, it's like, it's not about eradicating your shadows. It's about integrating. pulling them in. Like, you can't cast out a demon. You look the demon in the face and love that motherfucker. Like, and that's the alchemy, right? You know, that's where it changes. So it's been, you know, that's where everything changes.
And that's the perfect spot to end.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like we totally did like Dialogos and like just made the conversation came.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, especially since I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet.
I know. To connect and try and, you know, put some music together. I'd love to help you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a lot of fun. I have songs in the works and I don't play an instrument, so it gets really frustrating. Feels like they're trapped.
I play you, so I'll help you.
We've got a sink full of dishes and an overgrown yard. Need to paint a new coat, damn garage door won't close, and I need a new car. Saw the dog chew on the sofa, water's leaking on it. Don't get paid for a week, gotta tear the sheets, but I wanna do that one again. When the world's on fire, I'll lay you down. Don't need nothing but you around to touch your skin and feel you breathe. Can't get you close enough. Stay here with me. We may not have anything, but baby, we're us, and we know what that means. Let it all burn around us, not a care in sight. As long as I want you and you want me, it'll be alright. When the world's on fire, I'll lay you down. Don't need nothing but you around to touch your skin and feel you breathe. I can't get you close enough. Stay here with me. We may not have anything, baby, we're us, and we know what that means. We take what we have, and we're honest with that. Through fire or flood, water or blood, so go on and judge, question us. When the world's on fire, I'll lay you down. Don't need nothing but you around to touch your skin and feel you breathe. I can't get you close enough. Stay here with me. Oh, we may not have anything. We may not have anything. Baby, we're us, and we know what that